guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with my November wrap-up. I read so many good books this month. I did read only 9 books in the second half of the month. I read 11 in the first half, so I'll go ahead and link my mid-month wrap-up down below. I can never do a full wrap-up because talking about 20 books in one video is a lot, and I enjoy talking about a smaller amount of books. So we have 9 to talk about. I'm very excited to get to them. I feel like a lot of them were really good for my reading month. We do have a lot of 4-star reads. We do not have any 5-star reads, but 4-star is still really good, and I think only a couple, well, okay, maybe 3 of them I did love. But let's go ahead and get started. I have read a lot of Omegaverse and Christmas romances, and that's really all I'm in the mood for right now, and some romantasy. I am fully in the romantasy mood as well, so a lot of my future reading is going to be that. But the first book that I read, I'll actually talk about both of these together, even though I read one book in between them, and that is Pack Darling by Lola Rock. Finally, so many people have told me to read this series as I'm getting into my Omegaverse phase, and I actually got this. I don't know where I do have a special edition that I bought when I was in a Polycon, I think 2 years ago from this author. It's either 2 or 3 years ago. I bought the hardback, and I've been meaning to read it for so long because I have loved Why Choose for a while. It just took me a while to find my love for Omegaverse, and I listened to these on audio. This one I'm giving 4 stars. I actually thought it would be darker, and that's what I was anticipating and expecting, in like even angstier. Like there is angst in here, but not like angst in here. And so the heroine is a dancer. We open up with her at this performance, and she is not well liked by anybody, and she has been suppressing her heat coming forward to make sure that she delays any chance of Pax wanting her, and so she will exhaust her body to the point so that she doesn't go into heat, and she is getting a lot of attention. And the heroes are all from this pack, and they are kind of like bred from their fathers, who are like really great alphas, and they end up figuring out that one of them is an Omega. And so they're like, great, we don't like have to find an Omega, but it's an Omega who's a guy. And so the dads are like, no, you need an Omega to give you sons and like to finish your pack. And so they're very resistant because they do have an Omega. Orion, I loved his character, and they end up having her come to be with them, but she is still trying to suppress her heat, and they don't want anything really to do with her. But they're not like mean. I feel like they're not that bad towards her. I thought they would be like really bad towards her, but they do kind of reject her. But even that scene wasn't like that bad. So the end of this is her like at the ultimate rejection, and then in book 2 we kind of like finish up their story and have them actually like fall for her. So book 1 was 4 stars and book 2 was 4 stars. I really did enjoy both of these. I think I liked book 2 better because I feel like it was definitely more angsty because she was courting other packs, and she was like, fine, if you don't want me, I'll go find another pack. And she is very sought after. Like people really want her, so she is like dating other guys, and then also these guys are just trying to win her back. And I really liked how her relationship developed between a lot of them, because one of them knew her from when she was in this like facility, because she grew up just like in this, I don't even know what she would call it, but she just didn't have a family, and she was punished a lot, and he was very nice to her and felt very guilty for certain things. And then we have like the pack leader and then the other Omega. I've never read a book with 2 Omegas either, so it was very interesting. But 4 stars for both of them. I'm so happy I finally read them, and I definitely want to read more from Lola Rock. The next one is hard for me to talk about because I did not like this book at all, and I had it highly recommended to me from 2 friends whose recommendations I trust, so I went in fully expecting to love it. I was enjoying it when I started it, but it is Silversmith, and I think it's the author's first book, and you can really tell in the writing style that it's her first book. It's very overly compensating. Like it will have a lot of adjectives and like trying to be really like pretty writing, but it's like trying too hard. So that was really hard for me to get over, was just like the writing style. And then it also felt like it was just trying to check off all the tropes. So we have a toucher and die hero. She has amnesia, and here the hero was so over the top, and it kind of got annoying. I was like, I get it. Like, I get it. As soon as they meet, she like eats a sweet bun or something, and he's like, stop making those noises. And I'm like, oh gosh. So like it felt kind of cliche, and the whole premise is that she has amnesia, and so her family is no longer with her. Her mother just like abandoned her, and her brother and her father were murdered. And so these people show up, and they're like, hey, you're actually this lost princess, and we're gonna take you to your betrothed. And so the hero is like one of the guys who shows up to take her there, and I feel like it was trying to have found family, but I didn't know these other people people well enough to really care about them and see them as a found family. Again, it just felt like we were trying to check off the boxes but not like completing them well enough, and so I feel like I just like could not get into this book. And then the end had a lot of twists, but they were so heavily handed in the foreshadowing of them that they were obvious, and I was like, yep, I know. And so I just feel like this author was trying to do things and you could tell she was trying to do them and they just weren't executed well. So I gave it 2 stars. The whole book was them traveling and that was it. The villain's motives were kind of weak to me, so I don't know. I was just not a fan of this one. I forced myself to finish and I'm really sad I didn't like it because I was excited for a new fantasy, especially with the amnesia trope because that's my favorite. Then I did read The Scent of Us. I drove down to Kentucky, so that's a 3-hour drive for me. I listened to this in almost the entirety of the drive and I had so much fun reading this. I gave this one 4 stars. This one, our heroine, she is in a very abusive pack in the beginning. She is an Omega and she ends up getting out of that pack through this program, and she ends up having housing for like Omegas who need help, and she is slowly like overcoming her trauma and then trying to find a new pack. There are people though from her old pack that still want revenge against her, so I think that that's going to be mostly book 2, but this one is just her overcoming her trauma and finding a new pack, and it was so sweet. Definitely still heavy, like it's not a super cozy one because we start off with her in just a horrible situation, but I really loved her relationship with the Omegas and how we kind of added new people and like their relationship with her. It was so good and I'm so happy I finally read this. I'm so excited to read more from this author, and book 2 is on my TBR for December because I can't wait to read more. Then I read an e-arc of Triple Tidings by Cleo White. This one is an age gap second chance romance MMF. So the heroes had a relationship in the past, and then one of them is a doctor who does not live in town and the other one owns the bookstore cafe in town, and the bookstore cafe owner is very grumpy, and the doctor pretty much just like gave up everything to be a doctor and pursue his dreams. His brother is actually the brother from one of her other series, and I love those characters, so it was fun seeing them. But he had gone to the inn for, I think it was his brother's wedding, hooked up with the heroine who owned the inn, and so had the other hero. So they both had a one-night stand with her at different times, and they both had a relationship that like never went further. And so they both show up at the inn over the holidays, get snowed in, and they're the only ones there because no one else could make it for the holidays. And they end up having some spicy fun times and falling in love. And I had so much fun with this one. I wish it was a little longer because I would have loved a little bit more to their story, but the depth to the relationships was amazing for such a short book. I loved getting to know the heroes and like their relationship with each other, and then them agreeing that they want to be together, and then like trying things with her because they're both older too, so it is an age gap, and the dynamics were just so fun. This one I think would be a 4.5 star for me. I just had so much fun reading it, and I love Cleo White's books, and she writes MMF so well, so I did really enjoy this. But because she's such a spicy author, the spice did take up a lot of the plot line as well, so I would have loved just a little bit more of the plot. Just a little bit of a longer book, but again, it's the nature of a novella, so I still really enjoyed this one. Then I read A Cozy Holiday by Kelson Denise Stone. This one's difficult for me to rate because I enjoyed it, but I didn't absolutely love it, so I don't know if it's a 3.5 I might land on for this one. It was good. I feel like if it wasn't taking place at Christmas, I probably would land on a 3. This one, the heroine is a vet and she's like a super workaholic. Her vet office actually closes for renovations, mostly because they say she's working too much, and she walks in, her boyfriend's cheating on her. This felt a little over the top in the beginning, especially like with the dialogue and stuff, and so she decides that she needs to leave, and she finds this listing online for a reindeer veterinarian at this sanctuary, and so she decides to apply. It's like Craigslist, and the guy says come on over, and so she lands, and it's like a 4-hour drive from the airport to get to this place. I think it's in Maine, and it's in the snow, and then they're like, here you go, here's a snowmobile, I can't drive you anymore, so she has to hop on the snowmobile and take that to the sanctuary she has to work at. And so she meets the hero, he's the single dad. They do get together very quickly, and even though it's a novella, I still want a little bit more to the romance, and so I didn't love how fast they got together. He's a single dad though, which was very cute. It was a very cute romance. I just think that it was just what it was. It was just a cute holiday romance, so that is why it was a 3.5 for me, but still really fun if you're looking for like a vet single dad. She helps a reindeer give birth, which was super cute, so, and she's trying to like get them to have more attention so that they can raise more money since it is a sanctuary, so she kind of helps them with their social media, though they had raised like $1,000, and the hero's like, oh my gosh, I can now like do all these house renovations and put away money for my daughters. I was like, that's, you only made $1,000. Like, to run a sanctuary, I feel like that's not enough to be having these large dreams of like putting hundreds of $1,000s away into your savings. So I don't know, but It was so cute. Then I did read Anywhere You Go by Bridget Morrissey. I love that summer feeling. This author does write sapphic romances. I did give this one 4.5 stars. The ending was just a little long for me. I read it on audio, so usually then I can tell I'm like, wow, I still have like a lot of time left and I feel like things are wrapping up. But this revolves around two heroines. It's kind of holiday-esque where they switch houses and fall in love where they switch. However, so it follows our one heroine who works at a diner, and her father had cheated on her mother years ago. Like, I'm talking 30 years ago. And that's always been a really big pain point in their family. And she actually lives in the cottage that her dad built for the mom as like an apology gift, and the mom just can't even look at it. And she can just feel that lingering tension between her parents because they chose to stay together and try to work it out, but never really worked it out. And so the dad actually got this woman pregnant, and they realized that he has a son. And so they decide to put on this like big family reunion thing and invite the son, their half brother, to meet the family. And the heroine is just so overwhelmed. She's like, I can't. And so this girl who always comes into the diner that had asked her out, she said no, she's dating someone new, has a perfume business, and she says that she needs to go to New York to like talk to investors or something for this project. So the heroine is like, hey, I'm gonna come with you. Like, let's go to New York together and do this. So they go together and swap places with one of that girl's best clients. That heroine, she actually just got fired from like her job that was her life. She worked on press for Broadway plays, and she had a fling with someone who was a client. He was actually in a relationship and made an announcement that he's engaged, and she's like, what the heck? So she sends like this mass email of like congratulations and pretty much like blows up about it because she's like, you were cheating on her with me and I didn't even know you were in a relationship. And her job is like, this is not okay, and they fire her. And so now she's like, what do I even do? So she goes to this girl's cottage and swaps houses with her basically. They stay at her really nice apartment in New York City. Expensive apartment though. It's not actually very nice because she doesn't clean a lot. And so then she goes to her cottage, meets her other heroine's sibling, and they immediately hook up that first night and are super into each other, and then spend the rest of the time attending these like family events. So that's a very long explanation of what this book is about, but it was so fun. I really love the depth and dynamic of each of the storylines and watching the two relationships because they're so different. Like, the one is very like physical in the beginning and they have a really big attraction and they start falling for each other, and the other one, they've known each other for a long time and they don't know if they should cross that line or not, and it was super cute. This one definitely, you could tell, also had inspiration from The Holiday because then in New York they meet this really famous actress who has been gone for decades from acting, and she is very old now, and she kind of like helps them out and is kind of like wise but also really funny, and I had so much fun. I thought it was super cute. The ending did go on a little bit too long, but each of the relationships were so unique and had so much depth to them, and I loved watching them fall in love. But also the other heroine who had left the family drama has to come back and address it, so she definitely has a lot to go through as well. So definitely recommend this author. Another one that I really enjoyed from her. Then I read Merrily Mine by Jennifer Chipman, and unfortunately I didn't love this one either. I gave it 3 stars. Again, it was just like a sweet, fluffy, cute Christmas romance, and they fell in love very quickly, and since it's a novella, I really need that time to develop, so I feel like by halfway they were like already like, we're gonna get married, you're moving in with me, and I was like, whoa, like it's been a day. She is an influencer and she is feeling burnt out, and she pre-scheduled stuff and she's home for the holidays, and the hero just got divorced and he's moving back to help run his family ranch, and that is her brother's best friend. We have a little bit of like cheesy lines in here, and they end up getting snowed in because the power goes out and the hero goes to check on her, gets snowed in, and they have a one-night stand, and then they're in love. So it went very fast, a little too fast for my taste, but if you really like those fluffy holiday romances, you might love this one. It just wasn't for me, so I give this one 3 stars. And the last one I read, I'm technically counting it as read, and I'm gonna give it like 2.5 stars. I have about an hour left and I listened at 2 times speed, so it's like 20 minutes, but I like did not care, so I just stopped. This one was my historical hellions read, and it was very boring. The heroine was really cool though, so I feel bad giving this a low rating because I think she was so unique. She's very tall, and this is a historical romance, so like in those times, like people were very rude about people who were just like different from the norm, and she has never been kissed, and her and the hero meet and they definitely butt heads. She's actually also a journalist, and she has like a secret column as well, so she's a very accomplished heroine, which is so fun to read in historical romances, but this plot was all over the place, and I feel like too much was happening and nothing was happening at the same time, and I was so bored. I did like the heroine, and she kind of adopted these girls who were being used as prostitutes during the time, and they were far too young, and she was trying to like make a change, but I was like, what is going on? And like we had this whole murder mystery happening at the end, and I was like, who is this? Why do we care? And then like they were in danger situations, there was a marriage of convenience, and I'm just like, know who all these characters are, and I don't know what's happening, and like it seems like a lot's happening, but I'm also like, what could I even say about this plot that happened? So 2.5, I will probably round up to 3 on Goodreads, but I was just not a fan. I don't know if I'm a fan of Loretta Chase. I liked Lord of Scoundrels enough, but I wasn't as obsessed with it as everybody has been about it as like a classic. I feel like her characters are very strong. I do really like them, but the plot I just can't care about. So I don't think I will be super excited to read more from Loretta Chase in the future. I'm glad I read this one, but it was not a favorite. And those are all the books that I read in the second half of November. Let me know what you read. I would love to hear your favorites, and if you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts. If you have made it this far, leave me a moon emoji in the comments to let me know you watched, and that is all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.